In this video, we'll look at the SWOT Fusion Matrix, which is an advanced tool that really highlights your strategic thinking abilities by taking strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats and showing how they all create cross-sections together and linkages that drive strategic insight. So last time we took a look at the SWOT approach and revealed this new method, the story format. Looking at it here in this nice slide, kind of took things off that one-dimensional page and gave it some breathing room, brought some data, and richer discussion to the table, but it still didn't bring us that analytical rigor that we're really looking for, and that's why the SWOT Fusion Matrix is so special. Okay, a point of clarity here on the name. So instead of calling this the TOWS, which it is traditionally called because the TOWS says threats and opportunities should come first, I think TOWS sounds too much like TOWS, so instead we're gonna go with the SWOT Fusion Matrix. I think that sounds a lot more inspiring. So if you're going to be presenting this to leadership, instead of saying, here are my toes, you can say, here's the SWOT Fusion Matrix. Okay, let's take a quick look at the Occam strategy razor. I know I show this to you ad nauseum, but when we look at the initial SWOT and story format, that shows up in the open stage of Occam. Now in the compressed stage, where we're really trying to align on what our strategy will be, that's when we look at the Fusion Matrix. And so this is where it fits in. All right, let's orient ourselves to this slide. We want to map out the linkages of SWOT to determine strategic insights. Looking at this template, you can already see that there are quite a few different things happening here. So at this stage, you would already have created your standard SWOT approach. So you've got a bunch of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What you're going to do now is you're going to narrow things down. You're going to pick the top strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Probably just 1 to, I would say, 3 bullets. I wouldn't go beyond 3 bullets for each of those sections. And you're gonna map those on the left side and on the top side. So that's where we have the bullets here. So for example, under opportunities, we have online grocery is a $100 billion sector growing at plus 15% CAGR. You narrow down to that bullet from your previous SWOT analysis. And so what we're about to create here, and this is really where the magic happens, is this cross-section area. So we're going to link all of the parts of the SWOT together. And what this does is it exposes the reality of the situation, right? You're gonna see how everything fits together. You'll begin to notice where you have the capabilities to execute. You'll find out where you need to add more resources. You'll see what the major competitive threats are, and you'll see how these things come together to provide you, with strategic insight. Now looking at this slide filled out where we've, done that work to find the bullseye and the linkages for each of the sections, let's look at weaknesses matched with opportunities. So what we're doing is we're looking at these different bullets that we've seen here. We're kind of letting those collide, and then we're getting a strategic insight from them. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, and you can see it builds on what we did with that first SWOT. If you saw that video where we said like, hey, normally the supply chain for Whole Foods is a distinct competitive advantage. But in the case of online grocery delivery, especially versus Walmart's in-home foray, supply chain becomes a weakness. However, if you acquire Whole Foods, supply chain can become a strength because you get that high quality perception of food, and you get the brick and mortar footprint, and therefore the supply chain, the warehouse advantage, and you just found the strategic insight where you matched weaknesses with opportunities. Now with our examination of Amazon here, you can see we came up with 4 pretty interesting insights within the body of the SWOT Fusion Matrix. And then if you like, you can kind of just boil it down to this one main strategic insight that we have here in the top left corner. Sounds really simple, but that is the beauty of it, right? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. I think this tool has a lot of hard work behind it, but this is an example of where, your standard SWOT is on a page and it feels very unactionable, difficult to find out what are we going to go do here. Whereas with this, it's the exact opposite. It's filled with rich examination, a lot of insight, and what you're going to go do next. All right, so closing things up with our enduring understanding, the SWOT Fusion Matrix brings greater analytical rigor to your SWOT, and it delivers clear, more actionable strategic insights. Now, if you have anything to add to this video, I'd really welcome you to comment and provide some feedback on what you just heard. Some of these concepts, like I've mentioned, are pretty advanced. There are a lot of gaps, a lot of things that could be left out, and I'd really invite your perspective. And if you have some good ideas, I'd be more than happy to update these frameworks and put them up on the site. Yeah, check out strategykiln.com. And if you got value from this, please take that extra 4 or 5 seconds, like and subscribe. Really appreciate it.